Gonzuela Bastarache and welcome to my kitchen. On today's show we'll be making fun mini pizzas for kids. Pizza for supper and pizza for dessert. Both are fun and delicious and they'll be coming back for seconds. So let's get started. So the secret to a great pizza is in the crust. First we're going to start off with 2¼ teaspoon of yeast with 2 tablespoons of sugar and a cup of warm water. And I've got that in my mixer right now. And I'm just letting it foam so that we've got a nice foam in there. That's what's going to help our dough to rise. And next I'm going to add to that 2 tablespoons of olive oil and a teaspoon of salt, and followed by 2 cups of flour. And I'm going to add these in a little bit at a time. And then I've got a dough cook attachment on my mixer, and we're just going to mix it up. And having a mixer to help you with this process is really fantastic because it takes a lot of the physical work if you're not exactly muscular like I am. It actually does a lot of the work for you. So we'll just keep adding little bits of flour at a time. I'm just going to speed this up. And once in a while you're going to want to stop it and just mix in the flour. So we've got everything incorporated really well. And as you can see, it's already kind of a nice sticky dough consistency. So I'm just going to let that mix a little bit longer. So after a few minutes, you'll let that just sit in the mixer for a little while just to get it rising. And after about 20 minutes to a half hour, you're going to have a nice little ball of dough like this. And this is going to be your base for your mini pizzas. So we'll flour our surface because we're going to start working on the base for our mini pizzas. And get your hands nice and floured up as well because this is quite sticky. And you'll just pull your dough out. And we're just going to knead it a little bit. So as you can see, it's quite elasticy, and it's going to be a good rising dough. So this little ball of dough should make about 4 mini pizzas. And you can basically choose whatever toppings you'd like to put on it. I've got some of my favorites here that we're going to play around with. And what we'll do is some fun designs. So some monster faces, you just use your imagination. And it's really great to do this actually with your kids involved because they can actually make their own mini pizza faces and stuff like that. And it's a lot of fun. So I've got my dough and I'm just going to cut it into a couple of separate pieces. And again, flour it up a little bit. And we're going to stretch them out. You can pretend like you're in a real Italian pizzeria and kind of spin them around however they do that. I don't know, because I've never made a fancy pizza before, but anyways, just stretch it out pretty much. You just want to get it nice and thin. So I've got a pan prepared. And we're just going to kind of stretch the pizza dough out onto it. And again, I'm going to take my next piece. And these don't have to be perfect. You can also do them into like little shapes as well, like maybe a square pizza, maybe a heart, whatever you'd like to do. You can kind of come up with a design ahead of time. And then just shape the dough once you've got it on your pan. So I'm actually going to do some stuffed crust pizzas. We're going to show you how to do that. So I'm basically just kind of getting a flat, sort of circular, sort of oval shape. I'll fix those in a minute. So we're just stretching out the dough. If you want, you can grab a rolling pin and you can also roll it out, but I find that they are so stretchy that it kind of just comes back anyways. So I like to just kind of spread them out with my hands. So whatever works for you is great. I'm going to put my next mini pizza down. And then we'll work on the last one. So again, you can roll it out, rolling pin, or like I said, the easiest solution is just to literally stretch the dough out. So I'm going to get this onto my pan. Let's kind of work the dough around. So there we have our 4 mini pizzas. Now you can do your toppings just as they are. I like to actually have some fun and do a stuffed crust pizza. So I'm going to grab a knife and we're just going to take our block of cheese and cut some cheese up. And to do the stuffed crust, you just have to take your cheese or your meat, whatever you want to put on it, put it around the edges of your pizza, and we're just going to wrap the dough over. So we're doing it on top and wrapping the dough over. That way, if the cheese melts, it's not going to run out outside onto the pan. It's going to actually run back into your pizza. So you'll still keep all of your toppings inside. So all I'm doing is just stretching the pizza dough around my cheese. And if it gets a little sticky, you can get a little bit more flour on your fingers to just help smooth it out. And you just want to keep wrapping the dough. And again, it's quite sticky, so it doesn't have a problem sticking. However, if you do have a problem sticking the dough back to itself, you can just wet it a little bit. But like I said, this recipe is quite a sticky dough. So there's one cheese stuffed crust. For that one. And like I said, you can do maybe bacon or ham or other meats, something like that. So I'm just going to tear some bacon apart on this one. Put it around the edges. Pieces of bacon. And again, we'll just do the same thing where we're going to roll it under. Again, put the toppings on top and then roll the dough over top of it, just to keep everything in there. So you get all around the sides. And I'm going to try to leave a little bit of space in between them because they do grow a little bit when they're in the oven. Not too much. And you can take your time when you're doing this and make them really pretty. So you can do maybe multiple toppings inside of them, whatever you'd like. You can do maybe a mix of meat and cheese. And then I'm going to do another one here. So I'll do another couple of slices of cheese. And I think on this one I might do a bacon and cheese. So you can cut them a little bit thinner. I've been doing pretty thick cheese slices. If you want to add additional toppings, you can maybe make them a little bit smaller so you have space for your other toppings. So this one I'm going to put in here. And we'll get another one on the other side. So I'm going to stuff this. We're going to take a quick break and we'll be right back. Stay with us. So now that we've got our stuffed crust for our mini pizzas all done, now we're going to do my favorite part, which is the decoration, of course. So I've got here my pizza sauce with a little bit of spices in it. I'm going to mix it up real well. We'll just take some spoonfuls and cover our mini pizzas. And again, you can really customize this, so if you want to make a barbecue mini pizza with chicken, or if you want to do the tomato paste with the spices, or whatever the case, again, use your imagination because the possibilities for this are endless. So I'm just going to spread this around. And I like a nice thick pasta sauce, so I'm going to put it on here, or I guess pizza sauce. So we're going to spread this on all the little mini pizzas. We'll get it around our delicious stuffed crust. And then we get to pick whatever toppings we'd like. So I'm going to put on a little bit of Parmesan first, because I love Parmesan on pizza. And then we're going to just pick some toppings to do some different things. So again, my family kind of likes a lot of meat and vegetables, so I'm going to put little pieces of bacon on this one. And maybe on this one too. And maybe all of them, because who doesn't like bacon on a pizza, right? So let's put this on all of them. And one more. And now we're going to put some cheese, because what is a pizza without cheese, right? So layer this on. And again, you can choose whatever order of toppings you want, as long as you're making it fun. That's the main thing. So I'm going to sprinkle. I've got some mix of mozzarella and some cheddar in here. And we'll sprinkle it all on. And you can do different blends of cheeses, customize it however you'd like. So tons of cheese. We like tons of cheese on pizzas. So you're getting a ton of cheese on the pizza, plus a ton of cheese in the crust as well. So it's going to be a cheesy pizza. And I think I'm going to make some monster faces, let's say. So I've got my veggies here. I've got a tomato. I'm going to cut that and maybe do a little smiley mouth. So I'm going to cut that here. And let's put a mouth on this one. And I've got a big green pepper. And we're going to cut this open. And just take out my seeds because we don't need those. And then I'm going to cut some eyeballs. And maybe my monster is going to have some ground beef hair, let's say. So I'm going to take some ground beef and sprinkle it all around. Maybe give him a little mustache. And there you have it. So let's do some more little silly faces. So what if I make a kind of clown nose on this one and make a little clown face? Because clowns are scary and creepy, and what's more scary and creepy than a clown pizza? So I've got my little clown nose, and I'll put it on this guy. And again, some pepper eyes. And you can pretty much use whatever fruit that you want to do or vegetables. I personally like peppers and tomatoes on pizza, so that's why I'm choosing these ones. If you like olives, bleh. I don't like olives, but if you like them, you can do a lot of cool stuff with those as well. I'm going to cut some eyes, and then for my clown eyes, I'm going to actually take a block of mozzarella, and I'm going to make the back for the eyeballs. So I'm just cutting 2 pieces of mozzarella cheese so it kind of melts in behind and gives us kind of clowny eyes. Then I'll put my peppers on top. And I'm going to do a big clowny mouth. And just put it right on there. And when that all melts, it's going to all melt together, and it's going to be really fun. And you can also do other things. So if you have pieces of ham or other meats, you can definitely go through and cut them up and make other faces. So I'm going to finish these pizzas off, make some really fun, interesting things. We're going to take a quick break, and we'll be back shortly, so stay with us. And now we're going to make a delicious dessert pizza. So we're going to make an apple pizza. So first we're going to start off again with our same dough that we use for our regular mini pizzas. And the great thing about this dough is that it's very versatile. You can use it for either a savory supper dish or a sweet dessert dish. So I'm just going to get my dough out here, and again, very sticky, so we're just going to roll it in some flour. And if you do use the recipe for a dessert pizza, you can always either omit the salt or use a little bit less salt so it's a little bit sweeter of a dough. I find that with the apples and the cinnamon, it kind of balances it out, so I don't really need to modify the pizza dough recipe too much. So I'm just going to break this in 2 here. And you should get about 4 mini pizzas out of the dough recipe. And what I'm going to do is use a little bit of icing sugar actually to roll it out, just to sweeten up the dough a little bit. So instead of using flour, we're using icing sugar to roll out the dough. And again, the dough is very stretchy, so you just kind of mush it around with your hands, or you can take a little rolling pin, roll it out if you'd like. It's very elasticy, so it kind of springs back. And then I'll just put it on my lightly greased tin foil here, so I can spread it out nice and thin, because it's going to rise quite a bit when you put it into the oven, so you don't want too thick of a dough. You want it to be nice and light and a crispy crust. And if it's sticking too much, you just put a little bit more icing sugar on it just to work the dough. And again, this is a really fun dessert to actually do with your kids, because they can get really involved in it, and it's quite messy and sticky. And kids love that. Trust me, I know. So let your kids have fun in the kitchen. So I've got a nice thin crust on both. Now I'm going to take my toppings. So I've got 2 cut up apples, and I chose Granny Smith. You can pretty much use any apple that you like. I've got here about 1/4 of a cup of brown sugar, 2 tablespoons of flour, 1/2 teaspoon of cinnamon. And I'm going to mix that all up well. So it's going to be almost like an apple pie on a pizza crust. So once you get your apples mixed up nice and well, we're going to carefully put it on top of the pizza crust. And you want to spread it out nice and evenly. And then you take the rest of the brown sugar mix. So I'm just going to finish off putting the rest of my brown sugar on my little mini pizzas. Then we're going to toss these into the oven with the rest of the little mini pizzas for about 20 minutes or until they're done. And we're just going to come back and see the finished product. So now we've got our mini pizzas out of the oven, and we've also got our apple pizzas out of the oven. So to finish it off, just a real quick drizzle. So I just have a little bit of icing sugar here, maybe about a half a cup. And I'm just going to add a little bit of water to that until it's a little bit runny. So maybe just a tablespoon or so, maybe 2 tablespoons. And all you want to do is just mix it up. You just want to make a nice light drizzle to go on top of your apple pizzas while they're still nice and hot. And they smell delicious. You can smell the cinnamon. Beautiful. And this is going to be a nice ending to our fun pizza supper. And voila, super simple, super easy, and super fun. So now we have our completed mini pizzas for supper and our delicious mini apple crusty pizzas. So again, thank you so much for watching our show. Hope that you guys are loving what we're doing here, and we've inspired a little bit of creativity in your own homes, and we hope you'll tune in next time. Thanks, and have a great evening.